I just recently turned 30, and for the first time in my life, I can say that I'm chasing my passions without any reservations or fear. And a big part of what's made that possible is my investments. So in this video, I'll be sharing the results of the account I opened on Trading212 back in July 2025. Having clicked on this video, you'll of course be wondering what I've made. So I'll tell you right now that my Trading212 stocks ISA has grown to nearly £35,000 over the past year, generating a huge profit of over 6,700. And no, I was not expecting this result. There is no way I could have predicted that when I finally decided to invest a huge chunk of my savings into the stock market all in one go, that it would turn out so well after just 1 year. I honestly think that every single new video installment tracking this portfolio's progress reveals just how surprised and impressed I've been along the way. In case you're new here, my name is Ruth and I've been managing my own investments since 2021 and have multiple other investment accounts that I share on this channel. But to keep focus, let's discuss this specific one, including exactly what I invested in and when. This is my simplest ever portfolio. I designed it that way on purpose to make it easier for me to invest into without any decision fatigue. All of the money was put straight into one fund that aims to track the equity market performance of developed and emerging markets, and everything that I've invested into this since then has also been just into this one specific fund. There's not much more to say here other than to confirm that the investment of choice is 100% allocated and invested into companies. Hence, it can be quite volatile, often moving up or down by more than 10% per year. And there are, of course, thousands of investments for you to choose from, but this is just what happened to suit me best. Now, I started with the just over £20,000 that I invested on the 9th of July 2025, and after that came a gap until the 7th of April when I invested a further £7,000, and then a further 4 monthly instalments of £200 each between May and August of this year. And that's everything. That adds up to just shy of £28,000 over the past 11 months that I invested into this portfolio. And I decided from the very beginning to invest a big lump sum altogether at the start with everything I'd already saved up, and then to contribute monthly what I could afford as and when, as sort of the time went on. And the reason that I did £20,000 initially and then another big lump sum in April was that I actually had to wait for my ISA allowance to renew, and so that 7,000 was basically what I'd saved up between then and when my new ISA allowance kicked in. So from that point on, I did as planned and I just started investing what I could afford each and every month. So I budgeted for £200 and managed to stick with it. I also do actually get a lot of people telling me I'm silly to have invested such a big lump sum all at once at the outset. But statistically speaking, you're more likely to get better results from investing into the stock market sooner than later, as long, of course, as you don't panic sell. We should caveat this by saying that you should only do what you feel comfortable with and not be pressured into investing in a particular way by someone else. You can actually work out your own preferred way to invest, and at the end of this video, I'll give you a few pointers in case you do want to start your own investment journey. The value of the just shy of 28k that I invested is sitting at £34,713 today, and that means it's yielded a positive return of 6,776, or an annualized return of 27.5%, which has been earned completely passively from letting the money just sit there for just over a year. No second guessing my choice of investment, no taking the money out, moving it around, or for example, trying to sell at the peak, just straight up investing and letting it grow. I used to constantly check my portfolio and I would feel emotional looking at it, especially with the numbers going up and down as they will. But the longer that I have been investing, the more I do actually get used to it, and I don't check in on my portfolios as much anymore. I did want to make that point because I know some of you will experience anxiety or nervousness when investing, and I wish that I had heard someone say that to me at the beginning, that it's totally normal to feel that way, because as with anything new, it's hard to learn, and especially when you are actively sort of overcoming old habits, such as keeping all of your money as cash and safe in the bank. But learning does often also require that you put yourself out of your comfort zone. And obviously I didn't start with £20,000 either. So for my first ever investment back in 2021, I actually just started with £10. Also, the impact of investing does go so much beyond the money. And I say this because while the headline numbers are great, they got you to click this video, they are highly motivational in themselves. But quite honestly, the best results from investing come from just how it changes you in a way that you don't quite realize or fully understand at the beginning. And over time, it has become clearer and clearer to me that the impact of my investments are getting greater and greater on my actual life and my real life decisions. So, for example, it started by just feeling good about myself because I'd started putting money away for the future. But over the years, it has snowballed into much, much bigger, crazier things, like having the confidence and the audacity really to quit my job. The confidence to, think about and start my own business, to take on an entirely new direction in life. And it's actually easier than you might think to get started with investing. Just so that you know, when I started this account 12 months ago, I was completely self-taught, but I've since started the professional qualification to become a qualified financial advisor. And while I'm gaining lots of knowledge, while I go through that process, nothing I've learned so far has led me to change any of my investments. If the time comes when I do choose to switch things up, then I'll definitely share it on the channel. But I think it just goes to show that the 5 years I spent in the run-up to opening this account and learning how to invest was pretty educational in itself. So I say that as well to say that you can do this and it's not rocket science. Literally earning the money and then putting it into the stock market is the hard part. And after that, especially after a few years, the returns and the compound interest starts to work on your behalf, slowly making it easier and easier until eventually it completely takes over and you're free from having to work at all. That is the entire point. That's the thing that got me started on this journey. But it does start to come to fruition much sooner, I think, than you realize at the outset. Now, if you want to get my full blueprint for beginner investors, including the checklist of exactly what you need to do beforehand and how to pick out your first investment portfolio, then you can grab it through the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.